Namaste everyone. Very warm welcome to Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai. Some of you noticed that yesterday's Satsang didn't get recorded. Something happened on Zoom that we had the Satsang live, and then when I went for the recording, first it said processing, and then some old file was there which I shared on the group, and people said this is older Satsang. And the newer Satsang, it was just some 2 MB file which was there after processing. So I didn't post that one because I thought clearly it was not recorded. So it's a good reminder that if you get to be in Satsang Live, then just rely on it being there tomorrow or not count on anything at all. And it is also that it is Friday. So what I want to do today is make it a little more interactive, but not interactive in the sense of let's all share our conceptual ideas or let's all share about where we are, what we were feeling like 3 days ago or something like that. But more interactive in the sense of when I'm saying something, if it resonates, then fine. But if it doesn't resonate, then raise your hand. Stop right there. Raise your hand. In the Zoom also, there's a raise hand option. You can do that, or you can just type in the chat saying, "Okay, this is where you lost me." Because here it seems like what is being shared is completely obvious. So you have to say, okay, this is where it is not really seen in this way when I talk about insight. So what are we doing? When you hear the words of satsang, when something is being shared today, if it is not your direct insight, which means that it's not just an inference, not a judgment, not something that you don't like hearing, it's not based on these things. But as you are checking along with me, because I am checking as the speaking is happening, and as you are checking along with me, then point out where it is not seen, where it is got muddled up or unclear, or you feel like I'm not there yet, I'm not getting this point. Then you just say that this is the point where I'm stuck. So shall we play like that a bit today? So let's start with how I've usually been starting, which is to point out that right now, in this very moment, you are existing effortlessly. Your existence in this very moment is effortless. I'm going to pause after everything so that you take some time to see whether this is your direct insight. In this moment, your existence is effortless.
Existence means
Louder.
alive, being alive.
That I am. Just the sense that not even it is, but I'm saying that we don't even have to insert another concept. If I say, do you exist right now? Do you need the concept I am alive to report the yes? Suppose you didn't have the word at all, aliveness or life or alive, nothing. Just I exist. I say you don't exist, but I am. So, so this is what I'm trying to keep it as straight as possible. So it is your direct insight, and we don't have to refer to any concept that we have. Or, yesterday I came across one editor. Using that editor, you can only use 1,000 words. It keeps your writing very simple. So I saw this and I felt it's a brilliant idea. I wanted to send it to the team at work. So like this. So just that I exist or I am. If you don't insert any concept about it, then we're not relying on the inference. Yes, obviously I'm alive or something like that. Just an inference. You see that you exist. Is it your direct insight that you exist?
Yes.
That is what is important. Because we have to move away from just a conceptual spirituality. That is what I'm trying to do today, is to see if I had no concept of it, if I had no thought about it, thought is coming and going. Irrespective of whether thought is there or not, I am here. We have not yet said what this I am is or what here is. We have not picked up any presumption about any of the terms. But what is apparent is that I exist, I am here. Everyone else with me so far?
I feel that even effortless is a
Yes, it's correct.
unnecessary qualification,
Yes.
because I'm not able to check whether it is
Yes. Yes.
whether I am by some effort or
Yes.
what has
Yes.
brought me
Yes.
to this point.
Yes.
Obviously, so many
Yes.
things.
So this is very good.
So it's just that it's there.
Yes, it's there.
Yes.
And effortlessly means that same thing. That if it is effortfully, for example, that if I'm not thinking, you see, then so let's call that one sort of effort, like thinking effort. If the thought is not there, then it is not that my existence ceases to be. You see? Whether there is full of thought or whether there is no thought, existence is there. Then you say, I'm not like, picking it up. Like I'm not holding it up, my existence. Like even to like sit up straight, you say that okay. Because that is not the natural state here. It's slouch. So then this is like effort. I'm holding it up. It seems like I'm holding it up. But neither of these positions makes a difference to this existence. Isn't it? That's what I mean by effort. It's like it is not being propped up through thought, intellect, or physical activity of any sort. It is just there.
Yeah, whenever I check, it's there all the time.
It is just there. Yes. Unsupported. Effortlessly means unsupported. Is it? Unsupported by any prop. Be it a physical prop, be it a mental prop, be it an imagination prop. Is it? Like it is not, if I say the pink elephant exists here effortlessly, you say, no. If there is the effort of imagination, then it exists in our perception. But this, imagination or not, thought or not, physical activity or not, this is just here.
The checking itself is
Yes.
It does not qualify for effort or effortlessness.
Yes, we're not talking about that aspect yet, because what has happened is that so far our tools of gathering have been used to gather phenomenal things, right? So we are actually that inward movement of attention.
So in comparison with these,
yes,
it's an
exactly. So now, what about the rest of you in the Zoom? It just says something technical. The sound is a lot better today than the other days. So are you using a different mic? Anyway, I'll check on that in a bit. But maybe it's just like it's morning and this body has a lot more energy. So it could be that. So let's come back to this summit.
I wanted to discuss a bit about that effortless effort part or effortless part.
So they can hear a little.
I was just wondering, like for example, I may have some physical pain and
Yes.
some effort needed to be there
Yes.
to bring myself to this place or to this moment. So is that considered an effort, or would that
So
be considered?
let me again say what the initial point was, that you exist effortlessly. Now, this existence, whether the experience in the existence is pain or pleasure, contentment, that we're not even talking about any of the qualities yet, but you are there. We're not even talking about which you, what that you is that is there. We're not anything. But if I say, do you exist right now? Yes. It doesn't matter whether there is pain, whether there is this thing. It is just, and the answer yes does not come from a concept that I have to exist. It is just so naturally felt. So this is what is meant, like natural. Effortless is the natural, not propped up, unsupported by any phenomena, unsupported by any concept, unsupported by any energy. Your existence is here. So here we are just checking and empty of all the previous concepts that we might know, anything that we might know, even about the satsang and what is shared here. When I say, do you exist? If you don't go with the mental concept of existence, then you say, yes, I am here. So here we can converge to start with. Now, if we were to define pain as something which just comes up naturally, it comes and goes, but suffering as something which requires a sense of something happening to me, something happening to me. So pain is just the energetic experience of a movement in consciousness, but suffering means that there's a me which is involved. Why does this happen to me? I hope this doesn't continue till tomorrow because I have something important. So, irrespective of whatever energetically might be appearing now within this existence, can I suffer in this very moment? Is there a me here who has a life, who has a plan, who has grievances, who has resentment, who has pride, who has humility, who has regrets? Right here, right now, only through your direct insight, the same way that you have been checking, you find the one that has any problem.
The physical experience is also part of that experience, right? So
Yes,
if there is a physical
yes.
pain,
Physical pain is there. That's why I said distinguish between pain and suffering. So we said pain can come, any energetic movement can come, any thought can come, any emotion can come. All of this is there. But is there a owner, individual owner of this problem? And if there is, where is that one? What does it look like? If there is a problem, with a relationship, if there is a problem with money, if there's any problem, even the freedom problem, where is the one that has that one? The body is unconcerned about money, emotions, thoughts. Money cannot touch any of this. Where is the one that has any problem? In the openness, the nakedness of the right now, empty of any mask, if you are not presuming anything at all, when you're just looking, do you find this one? You don't.
Is it like it's that actually there are no problems at all, and only thought is labeling a certain
Yes.
even the concept of problem exists only at the level of thought.
Yes, that's true. Why it's true is because the me which could have the problem itself is not there. You see, this is important to see because the me has remained as a presumption, even relying on our knowledge. Yes, yes, now this part I know, or this I don't know. See? So when we are looking now, we are actually doing a audit and seeing whether there is such a entity there. See? So if there is no such entity there, then what can it have? Including a problem it cannot have because there is no such entity there. Is it? What color is the necklace of the blue cat on that table? Is it? So a problem is like that necklace of the blue cat on the table, which is non-existent. You see? So, so that's why more important to say that there is no necklace. It is to see that actually there is no blue cat at all, because then the possibility of necklace itself is taken away. You see what I'm saying? If there was a me, and you find that there actually can be no problem for this me, it's a nice pointing, is it? But to see that there is no me like that at all, which could have that accessory called a problem, is it? Is then so clear that it cannot have any such possibility. But as long as if there was a limited me, if there was an individual me, then maybe we feel today, okay, God is taking care of all my problems, so it's fine. Maybe like something like that. But then tomorrow it could feel like, oh, God is testing me with a problem, something like that. So we can switch from perspectives about having a problem or not. But as long as the me idea is still there, so we are really exploring the root of this and saying, is there such a one which is here right now? Body seems to appear, thoughts seem to appear, emotions seem to appear, pain seems to appear. But the one that is concerned about relationship or security or how life should be, how I should be perceived, all of these things, that one can we find?
So to whom either there are problems or
Yes.
things are going well.
Well, exactly. Exactly. That's how we come to the not applicable zone. Are things, this is a very good example. We have a problem or are things going well? So when you come to say that is actually not applicable. Conversationally in the world, of course, I can say I'm fine, everything is well. But, but actually it does not apply. Only comes when we see that there is no such me here. And to see that it is a presumption. And we are going to get into now how that presumption comes about. So can everybody see that There is no such me inherently in this now. Here and now, we cannot find this me. We'll look at some of the messages I'm getting in a bit, but I just want to follow along like this. Do you see right here and now? Let's take a simpler example. Where is the one that has or had any concern about the security, money, the state of the world, any of these things? Do you find this one? And what is the shape or size of this one? I exist. This was undeniable for most of you. You said yes, so effortlessly. And now we are looking for that one which suffers, which has problems. We are looking for even the seeker who is seeking freedom. The one that has any sort of lack in your naturalness, right here and now. Do you come across such an entity? Is there such an entity? Do you find the limited one, the one that has any boundary at all?
What boundary?
Yes, yes. Very good. So he says, what is the term boundary and what does it mean? Now, what are the constituents of the limited identity that most of us seem to carry around? Is it, we have to say, where do you, yeah, so where do you actually end? Say, I end at the body. But what is our actual experience of this? How are you experiencing your body now? Just look and tell me, how is the body experience? You can have the visual perspective and
Mostly the visual perspective and the feeling.
so these sensations which seem to define the boundary. So there's a visual perception and there are these sensations. Now both this visual perception and these sensations, where are they being experienced? Take it very slowly, there's no rush.
Through myself.
Yes. So what is the boundary of that in which both the visual is there, the sound is there, and the sensations of the body are there? I know it can sound like a strange question, but just play with me for a bit and see that what I'm saying, these words are heard in that same space. The sensations of the body are felt in the same space. All these visuals are also experienced in the same space. Bhagavan would call it like the screen of consciousness. But we don't have to worry about even those words. Where is all of this happening, experienced? Now, the mind has said that this is my boundary, and the, the voice which I'm hearing, which is Ananta's voice, is coming from outside of me because this is my boundary. For a minute, we are dropping that like a child who doesn't know whether this hand is the toy or the toy is the toy. We are not picking up the idea that this is my boundary. Right? And we're just going to go with our insight about where all of this is being experienced, irrespective of whether the mind is defining my boundary or not. Follow? So, although it is very radical, to check it is not so difficult if there is some openness.
So I mostly say that the mind is setting up the boundary.
Exactly.
Exactly. Most of this cases,
Exactly.
for example, worksphere, homesphere.
Exactly. So that which we have taken as the valid voice for the me, that is what we are questioning now, which is the mind itself and its presumptions. So now if you don't just blindly follow what the mind is saying, you say, okay, Mr. Mind, this is what you are saying, but let me check this for myself. Then do you find that the sensation of the body, which seemed to define your boundary, is actually happening in the boundless space of you. It is not a physical space, but we just have to use a term. So we say boundless space of you. Are you like the water which is contained inside the glass? Is it? And suppose the boundary of the glass had some sensations. Is it? So are you experiencing it like the water within the glass experiencing the boundaries outside of yourself at your edge? Or are these boundaries also contained within that same space of your existence, where this voice is heard, where the traffic is heard, where any experience is happening? So, what is
I think what a experience defines the boundary.
Huh?
What a experience defines the boundary.
what you
So-
experience when it is mixed up with the mind? Then it
Right.
seems to define a boundary.
Exactly.
But in the experience itself, do you find any boundary to you? And look at where is that which seems to be perceived as a boundary, where is that contained? So boundary means what? That there is a drop which is separate from the rest of the ocean.
Drop of perception.
There's like a drop of water which is contained in the ocean. And that drop will have a particular energetic boundary or something. Here we are just checking whether really we are this drop itself, or are we that ocean which contains all of these experiences of that which we have called previously me and another, inside and outside. Where is all of that? Where is this body sitting in front of you? Where is that experience?
That's experience with
Within. The sound is experienced within. Everything is experienced within. Again, we are not yet talking about what that within is. But in that same space where all the objects of perception are experienced, in the same space, even this seeming sensation of the body is experienced. You see? Now, this is not a persistent thing. Now, a part of their boundary, for example, are your ears, but you were not even aware of your ears till I pointed them out. You see, in that moment, there was no perception of it. One of my teachers used to say, we feel like the body is defining us, but till I pull your ear, you won't even know that you have a ear. It's like that. So it is these sensations which seem to have been created as a definition for a me, but actually all of these are just sensations happening within my being. Good. Now, very good that we walk together so far itself is very, very good. So what have we seen? I exist unsupported, effortlessly, naturally. Existence is here. No matter what the experience might be, I just am. The one that has all the suffering, all the problems, I look for that one, but at least so far, I don't find a tangible entity that I can say that one has this problem. And I notice also that all that I perceive is just like a perception or a sensation within the same existence that is here, effortlessly unsupported. We good so far? See on the chat. Yes, yes. We'll come to awareness in just a bit. There's a question about awareness. We'll come to that in just a bit. Nitya wants to say something about what we have been talking about. Nitya can come.
Hello, Father.
Yeah.
The, this question here or something like this, it is about, I'm not sure if I can put it in words. You know, I have a strong echo. Can you move for a
Yes.
moment? Thank you. It is, you know, I'm just wondering, it is something like this, how the personality structure here. It is, for example, it is very fearful, yeah, this structure, and I'm wondering how it is possible, you know, to experience all these fears and emotions, and how I don't understand it anymore. I don't know how to put it in words, but I just don't understand how is it possible that all this personality stuff is still experienced and is still playing out, and at the same time, you know, it is just nothing. It is just nothing. Yeah.
Just look at this. This is very good. This is very good. So this is exactly what brings us to the next point. So now, when we saw that there is existence here, I exist, I am. And as long as there is a sense that I exist, then all these energetic perceptions, whether we call them sensations, whether we call them thoughts, whether we call them emotions, basically it is all that which is the object of perception. So now, what is here effortlessly, and how do we even perceive something? So we found that there is a boundaryless existence, and the limited one we have not found so far. Now we're going to dig a little deeper into what is the nature of this existence. Now, as soon as I exist, the play of time and space begins. In this play of time and space, very intimate sensations, which we call the body, intimate sensation that we call my emotions, intimate sensation that we call my thoughts. These are perceived by all aspects of consciousness which are experiencing themselves in this way. Sensations which we call the body, sensations which we call emotions, sensations that we call thoughts. We just saw, and sensations that we call perceptions, outer perceptions like the world, people, objects. All of these are perceived. We just did a tiny experiment and we saw that all of this is experienced within the same being, within myself, we say. Where is it experienced? Within myself. And we saw that this space is boundless. Now, as our sensitivity is increasing, many of us will also experience sensations like the pain of another body, the emotion of another body, the thoughts of seemingly another body. How is this possible? Even now, if somebody falls in front of you, you feel their pain. We go, ouch. Even for the mildly sensitive, this happens. You see someone get hurt, there's a feeling of ouch which comes here. You see? How does it happen? We see that there's one space of experiencing. Now, some sensations seem more intimate and some seem less intimate. Now, this space of being, this space of existing, is consists of every possible flavor of experience that consciousness can fathom, beyond even that which the mind can fathom. Every flavor of every experience, whatever it wants to taste, is available to it. Okay, but maybe we are going a bit too far. Let's come back to where we were. We say, I exist, and this existence is beyond a boundary. But within this existence, any experience can show up. This much everybody will agree with, isn't it? Any experience can show up. Now, there seems to be a force which is present, which is called attention. So if attention goes to the world, then worldly perceptions seem to appear. If attention goes to the mind, then mental thought seems to appear. If attention goes to a deeper layer, a different layer, then emotional experience seems to happen. Then ultimately attention can go deep, deep, deep into this very same existence that we are talking about. Beyond that, even the functioning of attention ceases. So what are we discovering so far? Within this existence, there's a play of all of these phenomenal qualities. But these phenomenal qualities to be experienced requires this force that we call attention. That which has our attention seems to be present in our existence. That which does not have our attention, we cannot really say that it actually exists. You cannot confirm through your own insight the existence of anything which is beyond your current perception. I'm not saying it doesn't exist or it exists right now. I'm not saying any of that. So don't let your mind wander off. I'm just saying that you cannot say what is happening in anything which is outside of your current perception. This much is agreed. And all of this perception is happening within me, like we saw that is happening within me. We don't know what this me is yet, but it is clear that all that is being experienced within me. Now, if I had the ability to pick and choose what should show up within me, naturally, is it your natural state that you want to say, no, no, I want only chocolate ice cream and I don't want vanilla? So naturally, all these things are coming and going. And the one that has the preference, the one that says, okay, my experience should only consist of this or not of this, that one is not there. So if you were to bring that one on, if you were to create a preference for yourself, if you were to say, this is what the next moment in my life should bring, or what every moment in my life should bring, what would you have to do? In our natural state, none of this is there. Right now, we check, I am, I exist. But the one with all these preferences, ideas is not there. And within this existence, all this phenomenal world is experienced, which is happening naturally. But if I had to actually say, no, this is what I want, this is what I need, then what you have to do?
Seems like you don't have to do anything.
So, is there that sense that I want something now? If you had to create that, what would you have to do?
To create a thought in my mind.
So we won't even worry about how the thought is created, but at least a thought has to be there. Suppose the thought did not come, not possible. So then thought came. Suppose it came. Okay. Just by the coming of that thought, do you want it? So the thought says, I want to own a villa in Alaska. Do you want a villa in Alaska?
If the thought comes there, you have a choice or a civic choice to whether to entertain it.
What is that choice? So thought has come. That means it is perceived. Therefore, attention is already on it. Okay? Now, there can be some sense of control over this attention. Okay? So we might say, okay, I'm not going to pay attention to my thought. But in usual experience, that seems to create some struggle, isn't it? To try and fight attention away from it. So I just look the other way and the thought will go. Usually it's not that. It's magnetic to our attention in some way. So now thought has come, attention is also gone naturally. Then, so thought has come, attention is gone. I really want to have a villa in Alaska. Then, so where does the choice operate? The seeming choice, as you said. What is that? What is that seeming choice?
It seems like the mind kind of takes over and checks whether this is how feasible, how.
So another thought would come, say, this is completely feasible. Yeah? Or then the next thought comes and say, no, it doesn't make sense. Then the thought comes, but yes, it makes sense. Suppose it works in that up and down way.
That's right.
You see? It's just the coming of these thoughts and the attention to these thoughts
Right.
causing any desire, causing any want. You have to observe closely. What you will find is that there is a primal force, which is not even just attention. This is what we call belief. Now the thought comes, I want a villa in Alaska. Attention can be fully on that thought. And yet, that saying yes to say that that thought is true, it is meaningful, that is not arising. This is an inherent part of consciousness, your existence, which we so far talked about attention and how perception happens with attention. We are now talking about belief. Now, attention can bring all kinds of objects to life. But can you believe an object? Like you perceive this object. Can you believe or not believe it?
Question doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense because so attention goes to it, so specs are there. Attention doesn't go to it, there are no specs. Specs, no specs. Is it? Is it? So that is the play of attention. But attention is there on the specs. Believe the specs or don't believe them. There is no such thing. But if the thought is there, or the specs are dirty, you see, then you see that the belief or not belief is not about the perception itself, but about the interpretation of the perception. It is not about like the experience is fear. Fear is experience. But when we believe the idea I should not fear or fear should go away, then that is what we call resistance. So this is the invention of the me, the invention of the I. And you notice that attention is bringing every perception to life, but belief is only to an interpretation of it, a thought about it, a concept of it, a notion, as I call it. Right? Because in the object itself, there is nothing to believe or not believe. So belief applies to concepts. Now, what did we notice? We noticed that my existence is underlined on my belief. But what about my desire? I want my next experience which comes to be chocolate flavor. Can you have this want without a concept?
And I just want to check with you
Yes.
that so in the space of being or existence, as I call it, there are the sensory inputs are
Yes.
happening, and initially the feeling was that the mind is the space in which this processing is happening. But now it's seen that it's also another independent object in the space of my being.
What do you mean, the mind?
Yes, it's also
Yes.
just another like these. It's another random
Yes.
thing,
So,
and it has its random boundaries of what is, but they have nothing to do
Yes.
with me.
it is a question of how we define it. Let me take a minute on that so it becomes clear. In this existence, there are various qualities of perception, isn't it? That seems like sight, hearing, taste, is it? Thought, memory, imagination, emotion. Is it? Not only that, but sensations which we call the body. Is it? Then the leg sensation is different from the arm sensation. Yeah. All these various flavors of sensations are there. Suppose we had no buckets which defined any of the sensation. We don't say pain or pleasure is in the body sensation. We don't have any bucket. We don't say body, mind, nothing. It's just a big set of sensations. All our experience. Now, whatever attention goes to is a sensation, is a perception. Now, for ease of communication, we have made these buckets called body, mind, or outer world, inner world. Suppose we had none of those boundaries, and everything experienced as a sensation. What is undeniable is that I am. Within this being, all this perception is happening, all these sensations are tasted. Now, for ease of communication, we can say, okay, let's take that which we call energy concept called thoughts, that which we call the sensations of imagination, memory. Let's call that mind. Some might say, let's even put emotion. Say, emotion is also mind. Some might say, now, some might say, why do all of this? Just call everything which is phenomenal mind. Some have said like that. You see? Even Bhagwan, sometimes mind contains everything. Everything that you perceive is the mind. And sometimes he says mind is nothing but a bundle of thoughts. So the container and what is containing is just a theoretical concept which we are using to define a particular boundary in this unlimited set of sensations. You see? So mind is not really an actual container. It is that intellectual concept that we're using to bucket a certain set of sensations within it. You see?
So
So
if we do away
away
with all
with that.
these definitions
Exactly.
of different kinds of senses,
Sensation.
even
Yes.
and even the mind
Yes.
as another object or emotion.
Yes.
So basically, the truth of the moment seems to be that there's a stimulus.
Yes.
Entire set of
Yes.
things can be punched into this some kind of stimulus,
Or sensation,
and there is
whatever you call it.
and there is a response.
Which is also a stimulus. So that's why I don't want to call it stimulus and response, because I want to say that everything which is phenomenal, both the stimulus and the response, let's call it a perception or a sensation or a, basically phenomenon. So let's just say phenomenon.
So I cannot define the so-called stimulus as me or response as me, but
Yes.
the response is somehow by default identified as me.
Exactly. This is the thing. So same way as we've got these theoretical constructs now, right? There are various millions of sensations, but we use some theoretical constructs called the body, called the mind, is it? And we have defined them as buckets. We have one theoretical construct called the me, which we have taken to be the superset of these two other theoretical concepts called body and mind. So everything which is contained in this body, this mind, we have taken that to be me. But all three are theoretical concepts. There is no such thing. There is no such thing as the mind. There is no such thing as the body. It just is, even physically, it's just a set of atoms seemingly hanging together for some unknown reason, which a scientist also can't tell you why they hang together. So there is, these are the three theoretical concepts on the basis of which we have the sense of individuality. Now, you're absolutely right that the response that seems to come from this body or from this mind, or any of these sensations, we have labeled that and we said, this is my response. What is happening to me is coming from outside of me. But as long as you can see that there is no direct experience of that, there is no insight of that, it is only a theoretical notion. And you just see that, then you can say things like, it sounds like very irritating Advaita sometimes. Everything is just a happening. There is no me who is doing it. There is no me who is, not doing it. It is just a happening. These kind of things when people say, then you find that we're doing away with the theoretical notion of the me, doing away with the theoretical notion of there being a mind, and the theoretical notion that there is a body. Everything is a set of sensations. Nothing actually divides anything. There is no boundary. Everything is experienced within this within this existence. Is it? So stimulus and response, both phenomenal. Actually, both are also theoretical constructs. Is it? Because it has somewhere the notion of cause and effect built into it. That's what I'm saying. Is it? This came, and therefore that came, is also just a notion, isn't it? Because both are just happening. Like the bird came and landed on the branch of the coconut tree, coconut fell. Can you really say it is the bird which made the coconut fall?
Again, stimulus and response as two different things is also another
construct. Isn't it a construct? Because everything is just
one preceding
perception.
Another.
Yeah. If you want to take a theoretical construct which is more generic, then both are just perceptions. Both are just perceived. One could be perceived as a physical stimulus, the other could be an emotional response. So different levels of energetic appearance, and yet just energetic appearances. So once we remove this cause and effect, or as I like to say, everything has only one cause, which is consciousness. So this is what I'm really meaning, and I know it got a bit technical in the middle, and half our audience might have dropped away, but it's really important. I don't mind that. It is really important because we are now discovering what I've been speaking about: insight versus inference. Okay? Insight means what is it that we are actually finding for ourselves. We're seeing that yes, a lot of perceptions are being experienced, But if I don't go with any interpretation of them, any inference about them, I don't find this.
Should we not doubt our insights, Anantaji? But beyond a point, you cannot tear them like that. It's like
First, doubt your inferences. Isn't it? Then we will come to a point whether anything that we are having an insight also about has actually ever happened or not. But what you can truly say, at least right now, is that your inferences have been complete fairy tales and fantasies, mostly, isn't it? So, so at least let's start with dropping our inferences. There will come a point that I will tell you that even all these insights that you're having about yourself, forget about it. There will come a time where you, like Bhagwan, no, like Maharaj, you'll say, I am. There is no I am. Forget about even consciousness. Or you'll say, oh, the I am infection, are you suffering from it? But this, right now, where we are in our Sangha and everything, it is not that moment yet where I can share these kind of things openly in that way. So, for now, we are leaving the tyranny, the misery of this non-existent ego. As we are free from that, one day we will leave the realm of consciousness also. And we see that actually it never came, but there is time for that. Okay, some questions in the chat. Okay.
Father, please, can I clarify something?
You want to say something?
Yeah, when, like just way back when you said, look and see if the person is there, whenever you ask us to do that one, then like where you took us to that place where you said, okay, do you exist now? And then in that, in that direct experience of just existence, so they didn't seem. So later on, I kind of recognized that this me, which you asked me to look for, does it exist, is what I was calling my existence. And when you say that, like you first asked us, because that existence is the same as that space where all knowing takes place, and that has no boundary. And this me, which the person me, initially, you just, when you said you exist, it feels as if the person, you're asking me if the person me exists. Like, how do I explain? So then it always
Yes.
feels, yes, it's there. But now, having seen that existence, which is not this person, which is before, prior to this idea of a person, came, is also the same as the space of that boundaryless knowing space.
Yes. So this is what a very important point you bring out, which is that when a thought comes, when the mind comes, it seems like the task which is assigned to it by consciousness itself, convince consciousness that this unlimited existence is actually a limited entity, is the person. You see? So we have got so used to this notion that this seems to have become the underlying notion in our life, that I am a limited entity who is the body mind. You see? Now, as we are really checking what is the boundary of my existence, we are not finding it. We are finding that within my being, there is all of this perception which is happening. But my being remains untouched as space in all of this. You see? So nothing can actually hurt me. Nothing can touch me. The body can come and go. The thoughts can come and go. The emotions can come and go. But no residue also can be left in the space of where they came and went. You see? Everything in this world which is phenomenal is coming and going. but it leaves no residue on your existence. So the mind comes and says that amongst all the millions of sensations that are appearing, there is a set of sensations which is you. You are the one that is sitting in this room. You are not the traffic on the street. You see? But with the innocence of an infant, this distinction is not there. Everything is a perception, which is experience, without the boundary of a me, without the sense of another. This is true oneness, which doesn't need the concept of oneness. I am not being one with the traffic on the street. It's just that no separation actually ever came. You see the distinction there. One is that I can try and be one with everyone. I'm one with the Sangha. You see, like that. The other is to see that, okay, actually, there is no one here in that separate way. There is no boundary that I can define which is me. This is what you're finding for yourself when you check. In a minute of checking, you're coming to your boundless nature. You're seeing that in your existence, your holy being, all perceptions are coming and going. If we throw all theoretical constructs away and we remain in the openness, in the nakedness of the perception itself, there is no me or other. There is no past or future. And all that we define as suffering just melts away. This is why I've been saying stay with your insight, stay with your insight. Don't pick up any inference, any judgment, any notion about anything at all. And this instruction also falls away fast because once you start to see this about yourself, you don't even have to stay with anything, even your insight. You cannot leave. It's just a recognition of what is true. By pointing to the seeming drop to check whether it is the drop or the ocean. And sometimes you'll hear the term, just stay as the ocean, don't pick up the drop identity. You will notice that actually I can only ever be the ocean. This is what you're finding for yourself, that your being is this unbounded space beyond space, timeless beyond time. All this play of time and space can happen. Gazillions of years, trillions and trillions of years can be experienced. Hundreds and thousands of lifetimes can be experienced. But nothing leaves a residue on your being in reality. Whatever memory might come, whatever imagination might come, whatever body you are presently experiencing and calling my body, millions of these you can have. You have had. Right now in consciousness, in the apparent appearance of this world, you have more than 6 billion bodies, apparently. Anyway, let me not. I have a habit of going too far very fast.
When the question is posed saying, do you exist? Or any other question, there is a void, it doesn't even land anywhere. And then after some time, mind comes to the rescue to answer the question.
Yes, so don't worry about the answer at all. So when I say, do you exist? And no answer is coming, don't worry at all about it. Don't have to produce the answer.
Yeah, usually I see that happening with me.
Yes.
When the question comes up, it is not landing anywhere.
Yes.
And when the answer comes, I know it's
Don't
not
even
coming.
have that presumption that it's not landing. You see? Because what will happen is that some of these are very primal things. Guys, if I say to you, can you stop existing right now? You don't have to do anything or not do anything. You see, you don't have to take a position with regards to it that, no, it's landing or it's not landing. Sometimes something will just land. Sometimes it just like. So don't say for me it doesn't land or it does. You don't know.
The problem with inquiry for me has always been that it doesn't land.
That's what I've been saying recently. That once you ask the question, then don't molest the question. You see, this is what we do. We start the inquiry. Who am I? Such a simple inquiry, such a 3 words. Who am I? Then you molest it with, is it landing? Am I getting it? Why don't I get it? What am I seeing? You see, leave it.
No answer comes.
It's good. Because the inquiry is not about the answer.
Also, Father.
That's why I've been saying that this is a different type of classroom.
Yes.
You see? Now, because our conditioning has become so strong that we have to answer and we have to answer first and we have to answer correctly, then all this can be very frustrating. The answer is not coming. So that's why sometimes when I say these things, it is also so that you can relax a bit. So if you've had the idea that I am something for millions and millions of years, you see, if in 10 days or 10 months or 10 years, it doesn't seem clear what the answer to who am I is, it's completely fine. But at least that is a rehab from all this I am something, you see. Is that I don't know is good enough. It's as empty as not filling the blank with something. Don't ever look down on the I don't know who I am. In fact, there's a lot of integrity in that. In fact, many of the teachers who would say, I don't know who I am, those are quite trustworthy compared to the ones who are saying that I'm this or I'm that.
Also, Father, for the first time, I understood that all the perceptions happening inside of me with my eyes closed.
Yes.
But with my eyes open, it is not so
Play
clear.
with this. Very good. Play with this. And again, not in an exam sort of thing, just like an experiment sort of playground sort of thing. What happens? Eye close, eyes open, play with it sometime like that.
The boundlessness part of it is very easily understood with eyes closed.
This is true, undeniably true, because the amount of attractive stimuli reduces 90% when eyes are closed.
Yes.
Because there is like so much stimulus that you can feel like, but actually now that you've had that insight, now see what changes when eyes close. Isn't it just the quantity of stimuli? But actually, nothing changed about where it is experienced. Just the quantity and the nature of it seem to change. So what I'm saying is that with you say with my eyes closed, it is so apparent that all this perception is happening within me.
Yes.
So I'm saying now when eyes are open, besides it being the quantity of stimuli and the nature of them, like visual stimuli, that coming, does something change about you or the perception or something like that?
Suddenly I feel I'm this body and everything else is.
No, so validate that. Validate this. So close your eyes and just nod when you feel like it's clear that everything is happening within me. Like when it's clear that this sound, which you're hearing is my voice, is just a perception within your own being. When that is clear, just nod your head. Clear. Now, gently open your eyes and notice whether something really changed, except that there's a lot more visual stimulus that is there. Where is this voice now? Is it in the same place where it was when the eyes were closed? It's like this. It can feel like, because we have so much more stimulus. It can seem like now there is a me and there's an outer world. So do this, play with this. You will see that it will become clearer. It's always been like this. It's just sometimes the quantity of the stimulus can make it feel like the mind can come and say, this is okay. You can only deal with this much as yours. You see? Now, the Guru is saying, everything is already me. And then it finds funny to them when someone says, but I can't give this to you. I already know it's mine. You see? It is just your, what you, I'm not speaking specifically now, I'm saying generally when it is said in Satsang, that I can't give it to you means you're holding on to a limited notion of yourself. You see? The master knows already is already, it belongs to that one consciousness anyway. So as you experiment with this, as you play with this, I'm happy to see that you're saying at least now with the eyes closed, it's so clear that whatever perception is there is just within my existence. Then just notice.
Because among the senses, the eyes are hogging 95%
Yes,
of soul.
yes. Exactly.
This world is mostly images.
Imagery is so. Actually, eyes and also like even inwardly inner imagination, whatever we call this visual perception is like a big percentage of our sensory perception, inner or outer. Okay, let's see, there's a lot of chant. Okay, I'm just going to pick up things, especially from those who are new. Aman says, I don't know whether this question is really significant, but does attention have a role to play in the recognition of the primal witness? Does attention have a role to play in the recognition of the primal witness? The right answer is no, but there is a qualification to that answer. Now, when we are talking about the primal witness, that is beyond even the play of attention, beyond even the play of existence. And yet, it is not that this primal witness has forgotten who it was or is and is coming to the recognition. Awareness has always just been aware. There is no play of losing recognition and coming to the recognition in that. So from that, from the perspective of the primal witness itself, no. So now we have to really look at what is coming to this recognition. It is this very existence, this very consciousness, which is played. That's what we've discussed. Using the thoughts, played as if it is a limited entity, and now coming to its recognition. So what we've done so far is that I have brought the conversation to this level where we are seeing that I am that I am. I am this existence. And within this existence, there is nothing that can hurt me, harm me, make me suffer. Because that I is the I am itself. Now, this is the end of most spiritual paths. To discover your God-like nature, to discover that you are consciousness. In some parts, then you come to see that even this I am, there is an awareness of that. You see? Now, what is the role of attention in this? Attention is divested from phenomenal things and comes to rest in existence when the recognition of that which is even beyond existence happens. Which means that from here, even I am that I am doesn't sound like it is true. I am is recognizing that its source, where it comes from, is independent even of I am. Therefore, the source has never been confused, has never even played confused. But consciousness is played as if I am something. And now, coming to the recognition that I am even beyond I am, just I. In that way, all some things are being dropped away. So attention plays a role only till the point where attention is brought to just this I amness itself. But as we ask the question, who is aware of even this existence? We find that here there is no play of attention also. It's a deeply, deeply, deeply intuitive insight, which is beyond attention, belief, any phenomenal forces don't function here. So attention works in conjunction with consciousness, and consciousness divests attention from all phenomenal things, and it comes to rest in the self. But in this, am I aware the divesting is happening from all phenomenal things? But we cannot even say, although conversationally sometimes we might say that attention goes to awareness, actually it's just resting. There is no play of attention here. Beyond attention, beyond time, beyond space, beyond belief is the primal recognition. So I hope we've clarified a little bit. Just to put it simply, the role that attention seems to be given in the play of self-recognition is that it is divested from all phenomenal objects, and in that moment of resting, the true insight which is beyond even attention is completely apparent. Manju says, it's like falling into a bottomless pit when I do the self-inquiry. Yes, it can feel like this. I'm falling in unlimited ocean. But actually, you will find that there is nobody who is falling. That which you seem to be falling into is actually that which you have always been. You see? This is the recognition. So far, because we are conditioned to believe ourselves to be a limited object, as you're coming into the recognition You see, it can be interpreted or translated by the mind as if I, a limited object, am falling into the unlimited ocean of myself. But actually, what you're finding is that you have always been this unlimited ocean of yourself. Ask yourself, where is this unlimitedness? Unlimited, what did you say? Bottomless pit. Is this bottomless pit outside of you? Can you fall anywhere which is not within yourself? Only if you have the notion that you are a limited object. Pranams to merciful Papa Ananta-Ji. Sweet. I was like a child lost in jungle with all kinds of fears. You are so graceful to adopt me and quench my thirst. At your feet, no fear, no questions. Since then, stopped asking for anything. You are so graceful to give everything without asking for it. Thank you, thank you. Yes, this is exactly what I found with my father, Sadhguru Sri Anantaji, Sri Mujiji. I found that coming into his presence, he just adopted this one completely. And all that I could ever have asked for, so beautifully taken care of. Just as the trickster sometimes. And one more, if it's possible. In what aspects are awareness and consciousness similar? In what aspects are awareness and consciousness similar? They are not just similar, actually, they are the same. They are one. It is just like there's a moving part to the car, and there's a static part. Let's say the example which I like to use, there's a hand and there's a moving finger. Do you see a hand or a finger? So this is moving is consciousness. This which is the unmoving, where consciousness comes from, is awareness. But actually, ultimately, they are one. That is why consciousness is only a dynamic aspect of the same self. It is another, actually, to say, it's another theoretical construct. Just like we've created a theoretical construct called body, mind, in the same way, this theoretical construct of awareness and consciousness to define the unmoving, the unchanging part of the self, and to define the changing part. To define the qualityless self, the nirguna self, and the quality full of attributes, the second. So there's a beautiful bhajan we used to sing in Ganesh's house, which was Tujhe Saguna Manu, Marathi is written. Tula Tula, what is Nirguna, which means, how should I consider you? Saguna, full of qualities, or Nirguna, empty of all qualities and attributes. Saguna Nirguna Ekku Govindure, which means Govind, of course, is the term for Krishna, the absolute self. Whether with attributes or without attributes, there is only one self, one God, one Lord. That's why terminologies can vary. And that's why it helps a lot if you're on the same page in terms of terminology. So you know that the constructs that we are using to bring clarity, to bring you without empty of constructs. If they are not properly understood, then it can seem a bit confusing. So it's just the dynamic, the quality aspect of the self. Awareness is that which remains unchanging, irrespective of whether the play of qualities is going on or not, and whether what play of quality is happening. The rest of them we'll look at some later date. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Guru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai.
Jai. Sadguru Shri Ananta-Part ki Jai.
I enjoyed Satsang quite a lot.